Every nation has a symbol. For the United States, that symbol is not just a flag or an eagle. It is a white building standing quietly at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, watching history unfold for more than 2 centuries. This is the story of the White House, not just as a building, but as a living witness to America's greatest moments, darkest hours, and most powerful decisions. When George Washington became the first president of the United States in 1789, America was still an experiment. The country had no permanent capital, no central home for its leader, and no clear vision of what power should look like. Washington believed the president needed a residence that reflected strength without royalty, a place that showed authority but not arrogance. In 1790, Congress approved a new capital city along the Potomac River. A design competition was announced for the president's house. The winner was James Hoban, an Irish-born architect who imagined a grand yet balanced structure inspired by European neoclassical design. Construction began in 1792. At the time, the land was mostly swamp and forest. Enslaved African Americans, immigrants, and laborers worked side by side, laying the stones of a future symbol. Though most of their names were never recorded, George Washington never lived in the White House. He supervised its construction but died in 1799, a year before it was completed. The first president to live there was John Adams in 1800. The house was unfinished, cold, damp, far from luxurious. Adams famously wrote to his wife, "I pray heaven to bestow the best of blessings on this house and all that shall hereafter inhabit it." Those words would echo through history. In 1814, during the War of 1812, British troops marched into Washington, D.C. They burned the Capitol. Then they reached the president's house. Flames consumed the interior. The roof collapsed. Walls were blackened. The White House was nearly destroyed. When Americans returned, many believed the building should be abandoned forever. But instead, they rebuilt it. The scorched stone walls were painted white, not as decoration, but to hide burn marks. Over time, the name, White House, stuck. From ashes, the symbol grew stronger. Inside the White House, history doesn't shout, it whispers. In its rooms, presidents have declared war, signed peace treaties, fired generals, forgiven enemies, and sometimes doubted themselves in the quiet of night. Abraham Lincoln walked its halls during the Civil War, carrying the weight of a divided nation. Franklin D. Roosevelt planned responses to the Great Depression and World War II from its rooms. John F. Kennedy inspired a generation during the Cold War. Ronald Reagan spoke of freedom as the Berlin Wall began to crack. Every president leaves behind invisible fingerprints. The White House is not a single building. It is a complex. The executive residence, the family's private home. The West Wing, where power operates. The East Wing, often overlooked but vital. The Oval Office, inside the West Wing, is perhaps the most famous room in the world. Its shape symbolizes equality. No corners, no hierarchy. Here, presidents choose the desk they work at. Most select the Resolute desk, built from the wood of a British ship and gifted by Queen Victoria, a reminder that former enemies can become allies. Every object in the Oval Office sends a message. Nothing is accidental. Despite its power, the White House is one of the few presidential residences in the world that belongs, symbolically, to the people. For decades, Americans could walk through its rooms, stand where presidents stood, and feel close to history. Children have rolled Easter eggs on its lawn. Tourists have stared at it in silence. Protesters have shouted outside its gates. The White House has heard them all. Beneath the White House lies a world few will ever see. A situation room, where military operations are monitored in real time. Underground tunnels for emergencies. Secure bunkers built during World War II and expanded during the Cold War. During moments of crisis, 9/11, wars, nuclear threats, the White House becomes a fortress. Yet from the outside, it remains calm, still, white. That contrast is intentional. Unlike ancient palaces frozen in time, the White House evolves. Electricity replaced candles, radio replaced letters, television replaced speeches. The internet replaced isolation, but the walls remain. When President Harry Truman discovered the building was near collapse in the 1940s, the interior was completely rebuilt, while preserving the exterior. The White House adapts, just like the nation it represents. Every president brings their values into the White House. Some fill it with art, others with faith, some with discipline, others with chaos. The House reflects leadership styles: calm or confrontational, hopeful or fearful, unifying or divisive. Yet the building endures beyond any one person. Presidents come and go. The White House stays. History books record speeches. But the White House remembers moments no camera captured. A president alone at midnight, staring out a window. A first family grieving in private. A decision made in silence that would change millions of lives. Power is loud outside. Inside, it is often lonely. To the rest of the world, the White House is more than American. It represents democracy, influence, promise, and sometimes controversy. When its lights are on late at night, global leaders notice. When a flag is lowered, the world asks why. Few buildings on Earth carry that weight. In an age of social media, fast news, and constant noise, the White House remains a reminder of continuity. It has seen slavery and freedom, depression and prosperity, unity and division. It does not take sides. It stands. The White House is not finished. Its story continues with every election, every decision, every generation. It waits for the next leader, the next crisis, the next moment that will define America. Long after today's headlines fade, the White House will still be there, silent, white, and watching. The White House is not powerful because of its walls. It is powerful because of the choices made inside them. And as long as the United States exists, this house will remain its most recognizable witness.